YouTubers, have you tried everything? Have you tried to flush out your heater core and still no heat, and only to find out you have a leaky heater core and you're paranoid and you think, oh my, I'm never going to figure this out, I'm never going to get it changed? Well, there's my new heater core. I want to show you how to put it in. It's not as hard as you think. So you have any questions right now? Good, I didn't think so, so stick around. Let me show you how it's done. It's not as hard as you think. Alright guys, we're inside, nice quiet evening, so hopefully I won't be bothered tonight. Now we'll go ahead and get this heater core in and show you guys how to do it. There it is, there's another nice look at it. It came today, and it's a pretty simple design. Just got an inlet and outlet tube, and I only paid about $35 for this, and it actually was free shipping. So on this Taurus, the first thing we've got to do is go ahead and drain a little bit of antifreeze out, and I'll show you how I typically do that. Now on these Tauruses, a lot of these radiators, it's very difficult to get into the drain plug. And matter of fact, I don't even know where it is on this one, but to make it a lot easier, make your life go by a little bit easier tonight, as you're working, I just usually go in here and disconnect that clamp you see right there and slide it back. And you can see this is actually a little bit of connector here. I just loosen that, and I grab my other hand here. I just pull it apart like that and drain out a little bit of antifreeze, which isn't going to be a lot because I drained most of it out before I even put it in the garage. And once it's done draining out, you can just kind of slide this back into the little tube there, the other hose there you can see. Just kind of slide it back in like this, and that'll catch it. That'll catch all the water from my dripping out, and you can just kind of put your pail out of the way. And that's basically how I get my antifreeze out. You'll have to drain some out, because if you don't, if you have to get up under your car later to get anything, you'll end up getting a little wet. Next thing I suggest you do, just go ahead and pull this air cleaner out of the way. It's pretty simple to unhook and everything, a couple of clamps. The reason we want to do this is because there's those heater hoses down there that connect to the heater core. We will have to get in there and disconnect those, and I'll show you how I do that. Now, before I usually go under there and start disconnecting hoses, I do two things. If you have some big pliers, don't use them. I find that the little pliers like these work a lot better, and these are about 4 or 5 inches, and these are 8 inches tall. So if you can get you some small pliers, and the trick is, when you get up under there, especially on this side, when you get your hand behind there, if you can do this a lot, if you're pretty good with your hands, and you can take these pliers and turn them this way or turn them that way, because you never know which way those clamps are going to be. These pliers work pretty good. If you can open them up and get a hold of that clamp and slide it off the hose a little bit, then eventually you can take these pliers and work that hose a little bit and slide it off. Now, this is the most difficult part. Once you get past this part, getting those hoses off on the back, the rest of it's not that bad. For my heater hoses, I typically take a pair of pliers like this. I'm pretty long-armed, and I've got my car up on ramps. Typically, I have to stand on something kind of tall, but if you're outside and your car's sitting down pretty low, you won't have any problem getting into that hose on this side. So if you just take your pliers and put your hands back in there like this and get back down there until you feel that clamp. And sometimes if you look up here, you can see down there where that clamp is, and it will come off. So like I said, the whole idea is figuring out which way that clamp is on that hose, so you can get a bite on it by using smaller pliers. Okay, now to make the video a little faster, I went ahead earlier and unhooked these hoses, and you can see the one right there is already disconnected. That is the one closer to the driver's side. Once you get that loose and you can move that hose around, then you can typically get back there to the second one, which is right about there. And if you can get your pinchers underneath or on top, depending on the direction of that clamp, you can get that one loose. And like I said, once you get these hoses off, then you're pretty much free. You can go ahead and work on the rest of the car and pull that heater core out. But like I said, this over here, if you can get your hand in there, it's not a problem. Some people lay underneath, but I could not get my hand up under there because there's just certainly not a lot of room to get your hand up under there to get those clamps off. But like I said, once you get beyond this point here, then everything else will go pretty fast. So have a little patience getting these hoses off. There's really no easier other way to do it. You basically have to figure out which is best for you when disconnecting those hoses. And make sure you get your antifreeze drained, because if you're under there and you decide to unhook them from underneath, you will get a bath. So just so you know. So one other quick tip, if you want, you can get something like this, kind of long, and lay underneath and try to get that secondary heater hose loose, and sometimes this works. I've had success with these, but like I said, it really depends on what you think will work best for you. One more thing, some of these vehicles have this EGR valve tube that comes up on the back side there, and on this model, which is a 2000, well, unfortunately I have it. It is sort of in the way, but a lot of these other models from 2001 on up don't have this area here. They don't have this EGR valve and tube, and I think if I zoom in, or you can see part of it kind of sitting right there. The 2001 models don't even have that, so without that not being there, you have a lot more room in here, but unfortunately I ended up with the EGR tube on this model, and I really didn't have a lot of room in there. So just so you know, if you don't have this, hey, you're in luck. You got more room than I have, that's for sure. Now just for the fun of it, I thought I'd get underneath the car and show you how tight it is. This is the frame and this is the back of the transmission. If I zoom in, you might be able to see that heater core hose right there, and you can see how tight it is. So if you want to try it from underneath, go ahead, but I think you'll have much better luck up on top of the vehicle trying to unhook those hoses. Now we can simply move inside on the passenger side and get down, and what we got to do now is go ahead and take this glove box off. Now on the bottom here we have 4 7mm screws. We got to take those off and get this glove box out. Okay, now we can go ahead and get rid of our glove box, put it off to the side. And this will give us a lot more room to look inside and see what we got to do here in the future. Okay, now we got the glove box off. The next thing we should go ahead and do is go ahead and pull these pieces of trim off. We'll have to do both sides, and when you pull them off, kind of be careful because we have these little metal retaining clips there, and sometimes they like to get stuck in the frame, especially up there, and you have to pull them back out and bend them. So we got to take that off. Now we got to pull this bottom piece off. You don't have to, but if you don't, this piece here will get caught up underneath this dash as we try to slide it out. So it's a good idea to go ahead and pull this out of the way, and we'll just kind of put it in the back there. Okay, that's gone, and now we have this little side cover we got to pull out of here, and we'll put that in the back. And the reason we have to take this little side cover off is we have to take these bolts here, these 2 bolts out eventually here in the future. Now we got to do the same thing on the driver's side. We got to pull this piece of panel plastic off, and you got to be careful because, like I said, they're a little tough to get out. And now we got that off. We'll put that off to the side in the back. Same thing on the driver's side. We got to pull this strip off right there. Get that off there. All right, it's off. And this side here has little plastic clips that go down there on those metal retainers. So they kind of slide into that, and that's how that works. So we'll put this off to the side. We'll go ahead and pop off our side little cover here. Kind of hard to do this with one hand and one camera in the other. And we'll get this off. And there's our bolts that we eventually will have to take out here in the near future. There's one there, and there's one right there, kind of hidden behind that trim piece there. I guess you call it the window seal, door seal. Now, since you are on the driver's side, sitting in the driver's seat, well, I remember that song, Driver's Seat, yeah, driver's seat. I think it was in the 70s or something. But take your screwdriver and lift this panel up all the way around. Just take your time. Don't be in a hurry, and it will release those clips. The reason we have to take this off, because there are some bolts there we'll have to take off too here in the near future, which really aren't all that bad. And I do believe I can go ahead and just pull this out with my hand. And there it is, kind of sitting up there. And I can vacuum out. Now I can take a vacuum cleaner and go in there and kind of vacuum out a little bit later and clean it up as I put it back together. So that's off, and now we'll go back over to the other side. My bad. Also, we got to take off this trim. This piece here goes on the door, the seal. I almost forgot. And I'd usually just kind of push it off to the back like this and just kind of leave it hang there, and it's out of the way. The reason why we have to do that is because when we loosen these 2 screws up here, this piece here sometimes gets caught on that seal. So this will make it free to loosen this whole dash up when we go to pull that heater core out. Now we can go to the other side. And now we're back on the passenger side. We need to do the same thing with this seal. Pull it off. It usually comes off pretty easy, and just kind of push it back out of the way like that, and kind of leave it hanging there, and it's out of our way. And now we can go under here and start doing a couple minor things. And believe it or not, at this point, you're 2/3 of the way done with the job, believe it or not. So now we got to go under here. There's a little piece we have to cut out. We don't take these bolts out now because we want to leave this dash nice and secure to have it anchored to the car still, because we have to take a little saw or something, and there's a little piece of metal we have to cut out that will give us a little more room to slide that heater core out. Alright, now on this side, we got a little piece of metal that we need to cut out. There's a little piece that sticks out right here that the robotic arm uses at the factory when they put this dash in. We're going to cut this out. We don't need it. It's just in the way. When we go to slide this heater core out of this area right here, it actually hits that. Now on this side, I've got a cordless saw and I've got a hacksaw. There's really no room on this side to do it on the passenger side. Now if I go on the driver's side, I can cut this out. There's more room on the other side. But if you have a cutting wheel, you can just probably get in here and cut it right off. But since I don't have a grinding wheel, I've got to use what I've got. And we're going to use my saw and we're going to cut it off on the other side. And it just seems like there's a little more room. It's a little bit easier for me. So we'll go on the other side and we'll cut this off. Okay, now I'm on the driver's side. Now if I get down here, there is a place that works pretty good for me. I am using basically one of these guys here, just a regular saw with a little battery pack. You could probably use a regular guy like this, a hacksaw, but it seems like to me it's a little bit easier on the driver's side to get down here and cut this. And you can see I've already made one cut, and I don't know how well you're going to see this. I'm going to have to kind of zoom in here a little bit, so bear with me a second. The first cut I've made is right there, kind of sideways. And the second cut I'm making now is right on the bottom, right there. And you can see where I've already cut it with the saw. So I'm going to go ahead and set the camera up. You can watch me finish cutting this out. I'll set the camera up on the other side. Really, after you get this piece out, that heater core is pretty much ready to come out. We just got to unhook a few things. Now, before you go to cut all that out, make sure you move all your wires around. Just kind of loosen them up, push them out of the way, because you don't want to end up cutting any wires up there. So we'll go ahead and cut this out real quick. Okay, I got the camera set up, so we'll see how well you can see that. So let me walk around the other side. And we'll go ahead and cut this. And like I said, it helps to have a new blade. A nice sharp blade. A little tight, but it'll go. Oh, that was fast. Came right out. Let me find it. Let me grab the camera. This is a live video. And there's the piece that came out. And that's all it is. Like I said, we don't need this. This is just something they use at the factory. When they put the dash in, the robotic arm catches it and swings the dash in. So that's out. Now what we got to do is just take a few little doodads off down there, a couple of bolts and some springs, and we're ready to pull that heater core out. And now since that piece is out, you can see on this side, especially on the passenger side, I have a lot of room under here to work with now. And when we go to take this piece of plastic out, which is right here with all these screws, this is where the heater core is actually setting. And once we get that off and take this actuator off, we can pull that heater core off. But first, we got to go ahead and start taking out some bolts here. We got 2 here, and we got 4 on the top, which are pretty easy to take out, and 2 on the other side. Then we can kind of pull this dash out a little bit and go ahead and start taking off some stuff on the bottom. Now, before we actually start popping these bolts out, it's probably a better idea just to go ahead and pull off the actuator stuff down here, because once we pull this dash off, if you pull this actuator off first and all these little bolts, when you pull that dash off, this will get in the way when you try to take this off. So we'll just simply go ahead and pull these, take these little nuts off, these little 8mm bolts, and I got some loosened up, and we're going to take this cover off. And once we get that off, there's 1 bolt. We'll pull this off. Then we have our actuator door right here, our motor I should say. We'll pop this out. There's 3 bolts. There's 1 here, 1 above my finger, and there's 1 over here, which I think you can see. I'm laying on my back and trying to talk. It's really tough. So we'll pull this down. And I don't even bother unplugging the wire going to it. I just simply just pull it off to the side most of the time, like this. Just drop it down, because sometimes these wires you can't get off and they break, and you don't want to have a headache. And now all we have to do is go ahead and pull off this little guy here. There's a spring. I think you can see that right there, where my finger is. We'll go ahead and hook this little spring, which is kind of interesting setup. And I may have to go get my little pliers to do this, because my fingernails aren't, there we go, very long. And my spring just fell, but it's laying right by my arm, so we'll grab it here in a second. We'll pull this guy off. Once we get this off, then we'll go ahead and pull the rest of it off. I'll have to get a screwdriver there. There's a little hook right there I have to grab, I believe. Let me see. There's my little spring. Make sure you don't lose that guy. That thing can hide on you, but you definitely need that. So put that in a safe place. Put it off to the side where you know exactly where it's at. Okay, now I think you can see that I got the camera set up. Now when you take this little door off, this little actuator, you got to put your screwdriver there, and there's a little place right there you push up on. I think you can see that. And when you push up on it, it releases this pin, and you lift up and turn, and it'll drop right out. And just kind of make a mental note of how it come out, or even take a picture, because it will save you a lot of time. And we'll set that off to the side, and really all we got to do now is go ahead and take these 4 screws out that are holding this door in there. And what the heck, you might as well just watch me, I guess. I'll just go ahead and pop this out. Move these wiring harnesses out of the way. And there's 2, 4. So there's 4 of them, I believe. Yes. So we'll go ahead and take these out real quick. Okay, now I've got all my screws out. Now this piece is ready to come off. Now before you just yank it off, see right here where my finger is, there's a little rod that you can move right here as part of that actuator door. Push up on it, see it, but if you let go of it, it slowly comes back down. It kind of blocks you from taking that off, so make sure that's up, and just kind of pull out on this. See, it comes back down. Just push back up on it, and you won't end up breaking it. And off comes our little panel. I'm in a real tight place here, so you got to bear with me. Get this off, and here comes our panel. And right there, my friend, is where your heater core is. So now all we have to do at this point, let me grab the camera, grab my light. As I'm pretty much blind, I need to set up some better lights. And I just need to go ahead and pop these screws out there, 2 on the other side and 4 on the top, and pull this dash out, and we can pull that heater core out. Now, as you can see, the way the dash is set up right now, there's just simply no way that heater core will come out. It'll hit the back of that dash right there, and that's why we cut that piece out earlier. But with this dash out, once we pull it backwards 3 or 4 inches, we can lift up on it slightly, and that'll give us plenty of room to pull that heater core out. Okay, now we're up here on the dash, and I have, there's actually 3 of these bolts. There are the other 2, and here comes the last one. And once we get this off, then all we have to do, there they are. These are little 8mm bolts. Then all we have to do is go over here on the side and take those 2 out, and take the other 2 out on the other side, and we can pull this entire dash back and pull that heater core out. Alright, here comes our last bolt on this side, and these are 13. These are actually big bolts, and I gotta quit saying actually every time I talk. One of my verbal crutches, I guess, tonight. And there it is. Give you a nice look at it here. There's that bolt. And this side is already loose, you can see right there. And now we're going to go to the other side and take the other 2 out. We got our top bolt out, and now we are working on our bottom bolt, and the dash is already moved back, so if you see it moving, don't freak out too much. That's just that's what we want. Go ahead and take this one out, and just move back about an inch or so. This will really help us pull that heater core out as we take our very last bolt out. Come on, there we go. Set it off the side. And as you can see, I got the dash back. It's a good idea to get you a coffee can or a piece of wood, 4 or 5 inches, or a little block of wood, and kind of set it up under the dash right there and hold it up, because it makes it a lot easier when you back this dash out. And you can see I've got it backed out probably 4 or 5 inches. And now our heater core is ready to come out, and you can see I've got it started there. I did have a little trouble getting it started. I went outside and actually pushed it back through the firewall. I used a little pipe, a little stick. I'll show you the trick here in a minute. But mine has got water on it. It's been leaking, and this moisture, this piece of foam here kind of kept me from pulling it out. You can see it's coming out now, and I just simply pull it out and push down on it. It should come right out, but I'm going to have to actually set the camera down. There we go, and take it out. Use both my hands. There's my little setup. Got a coffee can and a piece of wood there, so it's up about 5 inches. It's holding the dash sort of level, and now you can see I can go ahead and pull this heater core out. See if you got to look at it there, okay? And there it comes out. And just be careful with your little vacuum wires. And there it is. All right, we'll set it out here off the side. Let's look inside here real quick. Right, there's a look inside the box. There's where the 2 heater core tubes go outside the firewall. That's all there is to it. But like I said, the hardest part is getting those hoses off outside, off that heater core. Once you get past that, and you cut that small piece off I showed you a few minutes ago, you're okay. But you will have to have something to block that dash up, because it's relatively heavy, and it makes it easier. The heater core comes out. It's tight, but it will come out. So let's go ahead and look at it real quick. There is my old one I just took out, and there's my new one, and they're identical. What happened is I flushed this out. It was working perfectly, but when I went to take the hose off, when I was flushing it, I kind of moved this a little too much, and it developed a leak right there, and it was my fault. I was a little stronger than I thought it was, and it started leaking, so this is why I had to go out and buy a new one. But all we gotta do is take our wrapping here off, kind of wrap that up, and I don't know how well this is gonna actually work, because it's pretty wet still. I may have to get some insulation tape put around it or something, but that's how you put it in. Now, if you're having trouble getting this out, what I did, I took a piece of wood, and underneath this firewall here, I took it and I kind of pushed back on this tube like that, and it pushed this out, and it got me where I could grip this heater core and pull it out with my hands, because I tried to get it with a screwdriver on the inside, but it would not grab it and pull it out, so I didn't want to bust the plastic around the heating, venting, cooling system down there where this was in, so I just came out here and popped it out. Let me show you real quick how I did that under the hood. And how I did that is I just got this little piece of pipe, and you could use probably a piece of wood. I just stuck it over top of the plenum like that and dropped it down like that where the heater core is, right there where that tube sticks at, and I just kind of pushed on it like that and pushed backwards on that tube, and it pushed that heater core out. That's all you really have to do. So it's a lot easier to do it that way, I think, than try to grab it, because there's really no room to grab that heater core and pull it out. Just a couple of quick notes. This whole job so far took me about 2 hours to tear it apart, and of course it'll probably take me another hour and a half to 2 hours to put it back together, since I know how everything now goes. And if you're going to do this, just have a little patience, maybe spend an hour and a half or so, and take a break, come back and finish it with the other hour, and you'll feel refreshed and you won't feel frustrated. But like I said, there's really not a lot of room to get your fingers in there and just pull this out. That's why you got to go out there and probably take a piece of wood or a little pipe and just kind of grab that tube there and push back like that, and it'll pop that out. And obviously, make sure you got a little coffee can or something there kind of holding that dash up. And put your other heater core back in and put everything back together. So what I'm going to do, this will be the end of this video, and I'll do another video on kind of putting it back together and a little update how it worked out and everything. But if you can do this much, obviously you're smart enough to put it back together and enjoy your new heater. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, we'll try to answer them. And other than that, it worked out pretty well. So take it easy, and I'll talk to you a little bit later. So good luck, guys. Until next time, later.